And of course, you can check out his music. He spends a lot of time making music. He's really deeply into making his tunes. And you can check out his music at jimthompson.bandcamp.com. Go ahead and check them out. Listen to the tunes. There's some sort of techno, electronic stuff, some ambient stuff. jimthompson.bandcamp.com to listen to his music. Next up, making her debut appearance on the podcast, it is my brother's girlfriend, Ilana, who is actually Dutch. Originally, she was born in the Netherlands, but she's lived in England since she was a child and has lived in London for nearly 20 years. To be honest, if she'd never told me she was born in the Netherlands, I would never have guessed, because she sounds like so English. But anyway, this is Ilana, and these are the things she likes to do in London. Here we go.
My favourite thing to do in London is to go out for food. I recently had a baby, so I'm not doing very much of this at the moment, but pre-baby, me and my friends used to go out for dinner all the time, after work, at the weekends. There's so many restaurants and food markets, and we would just try new ones all the time. And I think England has not the best reputation for traditional English dishes. Maybe they're a bit bland compared to what you can get, around the world these days. But we have got restaurants in London absolutely nailed now. Anything you want, you can get. And I love that you can go to different areas for different things. You can go to Chinatown for Chinese food. You can go to Green Lanes in North London for amazing Turkish food. You can go to Dalston for Vietnamese foods. It goes on, and I like nothing better than going out with my friends for a few hours and just eating till we rolled home. And at the weekends, going to food markets and picking up delicious pastries and coffees, and I just absolutely love it. I'm a big foodie and I miss it a lot. So that's my favourite thing to do, really. It's just, London's, people say it all the time, but London is an incredible melting pot of different cultures and therefore cuisines. And we would be hard pushed to find a place that had a better selection of food. And I can take everyone out with me who's hopefully going to be a new restaurant buddy. So, I'm going to enjoy taking him to all these places so he can discover them for himself, and I can discover them second time around. But that's it. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ilana. And let me just say congratulations again to James and Ilana. Ilana recently had a baby. They are new parents dealing with a 6-month-old baby boy. And he's a lovely, cute little guy. You can take it from me, but of course they're a bit tired. And as you can hear, Ilana is looking forward to being able to go out and enjoy all of the food that she loves so much in this city. So let me just go through a few things. So Ilana said that she recently had a baby, so she's not doing much of this at the moment. Going out to get food, she's not doing much of it at the moment. But she'll be able to do that again before too long. She said England doesn't have the best reputation for English food or English dishes. Maybe they're a bit bland compared to some of the things you can get in other places. So bland is a word that you could use to describe food. If food is bland, it means it's kind of boring and tasteless, doesn't taste fantastic. It's a bit bland. What do you think of this soup? Well, a bit bland, really, isn't it? Right? Bland here would be the opposite of tasty. So the food is bland, it's boring, doesn't taste as much. That's the reputation that England has. But then Ilana said, but we have restaurants absolutely nailed now. So if something is nailed, or if you have something nailed, or if you've nailed something, it means you've done it really well, you're doing it really well, you're really in control of it, doing it perfectly now. For example, well done, you nailed it, means well done, you did really well. Right, you nailed that presentation, means you did it really, really well. We've got food nailed, or we've got restaurants nailed, means that we are doing them really well now. And this is absolutely true. I mean, the idea that you can't get good food in London is absolutely ridiculous. The idea that in England you don't get good food, I mean, it's just nonsense, basically. And it's just a sort of silly stereotype. You can get all sorts of incredible food. Now, fair enough, but most of the time, the best food is from somewhere else in the world. But you know what? I don't care. No one. It doesn't matter, does it really? The main thing is that you get to eat something delicious. And yes, different areas for different food. She mentioned Chinatown, where you get your Chinese food. There's Turkish food in a place called Green Lanes. There's Vietnamese food in a part of London called Dalston, and so on and so forth. What else? Ilana described herself as being a big foodie. If you're a foodie, it means you're someone who loves food, right? As you can hear, you love different types of food. You love going out and eating and finding new places and whatever. So she's a foodie. Foodie. Remember, check the PDF for all the vocab and the spelling. And she said, you would be hard pushed to find a place that had a better selection of food. If you are hard pushed to do something, it means it's difficult to do it, right? So she's basically saying it's difficult, or it would be difficult to find a place that had a better selection of food. You would be hard pushed to do something. You'd be hard pushed to find a place with a better selection of food, right? You'd be hard pushed to find a city with more things to do, although of course there are plenty of cities in the world with lots of things to do as well. But anyway, it's just a nice expression. You'd be hard pushed to find a podcast that provides you with more tips and vocab than Luke's English podcast. So you'd be hard pushed to do something, in this case, to find a place with a better selection of food. Ilana referred to her baby as her little one, and this is really common in English, that often we refer to our children as our little ones. So my little one means her son. She's hoping that her little one will become her restaurant buddy, a little companion who would come to restaurants with her, and hopefully the little one is going to become a foodie as well, like his mummy. Okay, so that was Ilana. Let's now move on to the next person, and we're going to hear from Anthony. This is Anthony Rotuno. Anthony is a fellow English teacher and podcaster who's been on this podcast plenty of times, most recently in the episode about Life of Brian. And guess what? I've never actually met him in the real world. Anthony and I have never actually met in the real world, but our orbits will cross each other soon, I think, and it'll probably be in London when we're both there at the same time. It would be great to actually meet up with him. But I mean, I've known Anthony for a few years now. I've spoken to him lots of times. We've done lots of podcasts together, but our paths have never actually crossed in the real world. Anyway, this is what Anthony has to say.
Hello, this is Anthony Rotuno. I'm a teacher, podcaster, and fairly frequent Luke Thompson collaborator. I lived in London on and off for about 5 years in the 2000s. First in Ladbroke Grove in West London, and Finsbury Park in North London, and Hackney in East London. I was too scared to live in South London. Just a joke. I did a lot of the tourist sites when I first got there, such as Big Ben, Tower of London, various galleries and museums, National Gallery, Tate Modern, Science Museum. And there's lots of interesting buildings and places to go. But now, honestly, my favourite thing is just walking around the city, observing the people, the various cultures, and just enjoying how large the city is, in fact. I have a very busy life, and every few months, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, I go and visit a friend of mine who lives in the Paddington area for a couple of hours in the morning, and then I spend the rest of the day just walking around various places, including the areas I used to live, for a bit of nostalgia. It's quite ironic that in a big city like London, doing this actually brings a lot of peace. I feel like these days are a day off from the world, or at least a day off from my busy working life. London, of course, is so huge that you never run out of places to go, even if you don't have a particular destination. or perhaps especially when you don't. I love the parks. My favourite's probably Hyde Park, the markets, especially Portobello. I still go to galleries sometimes, but I don't really like queuing, and I like to stay on the move when I'm in London. I do stop off in coffee shops and even the occasional pub sometimes. I sometimes talk to people, but the great thing about London is the sense that you can be anonymous if you want to. It feels like everyone is in their own bubble and people don't really approach each other without a particular reason. And on these days, that works fine for me. But like I say, people will talk to you if you start a conversation. So that's my favourite thing to do in London. In short, London's massive and no one's very friendly.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Anthony is a fellow Alan Partridge fan, as I am, and he's one of those people like me where you can't help kind of quoting Partridge or going into some sort of Partridgeism. If you don't know who Alan Partridge is, I mean, sometimes I mention him in my episodes. I've done 6 episodes about Alan Partridge in the past. Just search the episode archive for Alan. That's probably the key word you could use to search. Do a Command F search or Control F search in my episode archive for the word Alan, and you'll find 6 episodes all about Alan, including lots of listening. Anyway, I've gone off on an Alan tangent. Although, if I'm talking about Alan, I might as well include Alan's words here, because everything that everyone has said in this episode so far has been just overwhelmingly positive. But Alan, who by the way is a fictional comedy character from a television series played by actor Steve Coogan, in the show, Alan hates London, right, because he associates it with the fact that his career in television has failed or is on the rocks, and so he associates London with all sorts of television industry people who have rejected him, and so he's rejected London as a result. This is what Alan thinks of London.
Go to London, I guarantee you'll either be mugged or not appreciated. Catch the train to London, stopping at Rejection, Disappointment, Backstabbing Central and Shattered Dreams Parkway.
Go to London, I guarantee you'll either be mugged or not appreciated. If you get mugged, it means someone stops you in the street and robs you, like steals your phone or your wallet or something. Go to London, I guarantee you'll either be mugged or not appreciated. So Alan was not appreciated in London. People didn't apparently see his genius as a broadcaster. And what was it? Take the train to London, stopping at what?
Catch the train to London, stopping at Rejection, Disappointment, Backstabbing Central and Shattered Dreams Parkway.
Disappointment. These are like train stations. Catch the train to London, stopping at Rejection, Disappointment, Backstabbing Central. So backstabbing, that's when someone stabs you in the back. Not literally, but it's just when someone betrays you, goes behind your back and does something that betrays you. Okay, so Backstabbing Central sounds like some sort of train station. And Shattered Dreams Parkway, which again sounds like another train station. Anyway, I've ended up in an Alan Partridge tangent. I'm sorry, everybody. Anthony Rotuno. Right, so Anthony was saying that he's been to lots of different parts of London, west, north, east. He was too scared to live in South London. This is just a joke. It's kind of traditionally considered, South London is kind of traditionally considered to be a bit rough, meaning the slightly more dangerous part of the city. Rough is the word that we use to describe parts of a city or town or something that are perhaps slightly more dangerous. We tend to say they are rough areas. That's ROUGH. But yeah, Anthony's another walker, and I understand entirely how he feels. It is a great thing to just walk anonymously around the city, always on the move, going from one place to the next, a bit like in my walk and talk video. So he likes to stay on the move, right? If you are on the move, it means you're always moving. So he likes to stay on the move. He might stop off in a cafe, there's that phrasal verb again, but you can be anonymous, you can kind of be in your own bubble, which can be a really great thing to do. You just stroll around from place to place, and it can be a peaceful, almost meditative thing to do, just to float from one part of London to the other. Yes, walking, it is a fantastic thing, very therapeutic as well, they say. Right, so this episode is becoming an epic marathon of English listening for you, but I just wanted to say you can listen to Anthony on his podcasts. He's got 3 podcasts. The first one is Glass Onion on John Lennon, all about John Lennon. Very fascinating, in-depth, almost like psychological case study of John Lennon. Film Gold, all about films, and Life and Life Only, all about the search for truth in your life, the inner truth and outer truth in society. All of them worth a listen. Right, so that's Anthony. All of those podcasts available wherever you get your podcasts. This is the penultimate recording, and we're going back to Aaron again, who you heard from in part 1. This is the second part of his recording, and so let's hear from Aaron again. What are the other things that he enjoys doing in London? Here we go.
Other things that I like doing, I love being in Soho, particularly on Friday or Saturday evening, just as it's turning from that point where the shops are closing to people coming out for drinks and hanging out in the city, having a wild time. Probably less wild than it used to be, certainly for me, but I really like the atmosphere that you get as that kind of, you're in that transition period before everyone gets too drunk, but just before just as everyone's quite merry and having a good time. I was in Soho a couple of weekends ago, and I felt really invigorated by the energy there. And while it has changed a lot, I think Soho is still, the soul and the heart and soul of the centre of London for me. It's a great place. Something else I like doing, record shopping. Another thing you can do in Soho. I love visiting record shops. I love spending an afternoon with friends, going around various record shops. A lot of the best record shops, or the best independent record shops, have closed, but there are always new ones popping up on the outskirts of London, and they're always interesting places to go and rifle through, and you usually find something that unexpected, something from your past, your formative teenage years when you really loved music. I still love music very much, and I like to buy the odd record. I don't go crazy, just maybe 1 or 2 every couple of months or so, and I just add them to my collection and listen to them when I get a moment. Similarly, along the lines of music, I love going to gigs in London. I went to see a band recently called Ghost Funk Orchestra in a small venue on Denmark Street. I've forgotten the name. It's a really good venue, a really good sound, and I saw a band called Ghost Funk Orchestra. They were excellent. Recommend them. Hard to explain the style of music, but there were a lot of people dancing and it was a really good time. Sort of psychedelic soul, I guess, with like 8 people on stage, a lot of fun. And I'm actually going to see a band this Sunday, whatever Sunday this is, or last Sunday, or whatever previous Sunday occurred before this podcast is published. I'm going to see a band called Fishbone, who I've loved since I was a teenager, probably before that first trip to London. They've been around since the late 70s, and they're playing at Camden Underworld, so a few of us are going to go along and see some old men still jumping around on stage, probably with a lot of energy, playing some great songs. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then away from music, I've recently moved to Chiswick. It's a beautiful part of London. It really is great. It has a sort of, nice, I think it's the country's last cheese market. Is in Chiswick, and actually Chiswick was named for its annual cheese market, Cheese Week, or Cheese Week, I believe became Chiswick. There's also an antiques market, which is great if you like old stuff that's expensive, and there's a food market and also a flower market if you like plants. They're all great. They're each Sunday. They're down the high street. It's a really nice way to spend the Sunday morning, buying stuff that you probably don't need, but stuff that makes you feel happy. I've probably got way over time here, but these are just some of the things I love doing in London. There are many more, and maybe one day I'll get to tell you about them. Who knows? If not, come and visit London if you don't live here. If you lived here before, come and visit again.
do some of the things you used to love doing, and find out some new things that you might love doing. Highly recommend London. It's one of the greatest cities on the planet, and I'm very proud to call it my home.
Nice. So that was Aaron there, completing his long rambling comment, completing and indeed competing with me for the champion of the Rambling Champion Trophy. Although, thanks to all my rambling between each recording, this episode is getting super long here, isn't it? But that's all right, we're nearly at the end now, but you don't mind because obviously you're just loving it, aren't you? So you're thinking, why do you talk like if this being a long episode like that's a bad thing? That's just a fantastic thing, Luke. And you also might be thinking, I'm going to talk about what Aaron said in a moment and explain some vocab, don't worry. But you might also be thinking, Luke, you sound different. Yes, because now I'm in a different location. My recording of this episode has gone on, it's been something like 3 days worth. Like I started recording these bits and recording the intro and the other bits to part 1 and then part 2. Started that something like 3 days ago. And so here I am again. This time it's the evening and I'm at home, very comfortably installed on the sofa. I'm sure you're very happy to know that I'm extremely comfortable. I might even just have a little sleep in a moment, but I'm lying on the sofa. It's probably noisy. There's the windows open right behind me. You might hear the sound of the sort of French people slowly going to sleep, making noises like this.
ये ऐसा वाला कुछ बचा था ना अभी हमने वो लगाया था चेयर पे 2 टुकड़े बचे हुए थे
So they make it so when it's turning from the shopping area into the evening.
ऐसा इसके बचे हुए 2
दिल्ली ले गए
दिल्ली ले गए दिल्ली किस लिए
पता नहीं
कौन लेगा दिल्ली कोई कारण तो होगा जाने का तेरे मम्मी लेगी ये तेरे मौसी लेगी कौन लेगी
You might disagree, you might think this is horrible, I want to go home. But you know, if it's like the air is very fresh and it really wakes you up, it's really invigorating. Or maybe being in Soho on a Saturday, early evening, and there's a real sense of energy.
यार है आपका
Bustling,
हाँ
the general
अभी हिंदी का क्या
of Soho at that time of day.
पूरा हो गया
उसके पीछे
प्रिंटर तेरा काम नहीं कर रहा कहाँ गया
नहीं है मेरे को
कलर प्रिंटर था
डिस्काउंट कर दिया था कंपनी क्या नहीं सॉरी उसने ले आए थे ना दिल्ली में ले आए
नहीं दिल्ली से मैंने भेजा खुद ने को उसके साथ इंक भी मैंने नहीं ली थी वो भेजी थी कलर प्रिंटर था
हम खुद पिछले 1.5 साल से ऑफिस से प्रिंट करवा रहे हैं
Aaron
Because
used
जो
the
भी project मिलता है,
expression
जो भी कभी
rifling
करवाना होता
through
है,
some
हाँ।
records. That means looking through things quickly.
तो सबको
You might,
देखेंगे
for
सॉफ्टवेयर
example,
जाके जो है
rifle
एक बार में
through
प्रिंट करवा
your,
लो
I
बाजार से
don't
करवा लो
know, what would it be? What's a good example? If you really need to
टाइम है
सारी
get out
project
of
एक-एक करके जब होंगे तो
town
उसको
for
भी
some
जो
reason,
चाहिए होगा,
like, I don't know,
हाँ।
maybe
वो आप
you've
सब ले,
committed
आप
some
Sunday
terrible
को
crime and you quickly need to
संडे को या
leave the
फिर
country. You
घूमने आ
might
जाएगी तब कर लेंगे
rifle through your drawers to find your passport and a stash of cash and then flee the country. You know when you have to leave the country really quickly. Of course you don't. That's a joke. Unless you do, maybe you know exactly what that's like. I don't know. But anyway, rifling through something means looking through it very quickly, right? So rifling through boxes of records, looking for something really good, rifling through, like I would rifle through my sock drawer, desperately trying to find two socks that actually match each other, or you rifle through your handbag to find your keys or something like that. Aaron likes rifling through records in record shops. Sometimes you would find a record that reminds you of your formative years. Formative years are your, I guess, like your teenage years, the years you spent that really make you who you are. The kind of year.
हाँ